Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Speak Project. My name is Stefan Rao, more commonly known as Tank, and with me today is a very special guest, Dr. O, who is going to give us some insight with his clinical experience into the usage of vaccines, the potential issues that may be caused directly because of them, and how it's being handled. So, Dr. O, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, Tank. How are you?
I am, fighting the good fight, sir. Fighting the good fight.
That is true.
So, Doc, tell me what you're seeing. Now, what kind of a doctor are you, first of all?
I work mostly, my background is internal medicine, ER. I work mostly in the inpatient side in the hospital. And I also do part-time holistic medicine practice here in Florida. So that's what I do right now.
Now, in Florida, because Florida is really a turned on, state for the most part with as far as holistic health, there's people that are very knowledgeable in that arena. And, the independent physician is really a medical physician anyways, independent practice. A lot of those practices have been bought up by the hospitals, right? Now, you've worked for the hospital, so that's where you've been for a majority of your career.
Yeah, yeah.
So in the hospitals, we've heard that it's pretty much a standard practice that when people come in, that there's a push to make sure that everyone is vaccinated. Is that accurate in your experience?
That is true, and most of it is to drive the flu vaccine. The nurses would check in the database, ask the client, and if it is season, like now it is flu season. If it is season, they'll go ahead and vaccinate. They don't even have to, get a prescription from the doctor or talk to the doctor. So it's like a protocol in the hospital.
So the nurses have basically autonomy to basically say, hey, you want a vaccine, and they can delve it out. They don't even have to discuss it because it's standard practice and everyone accepts this.
Obviously it's put under my name or the doctor's name, and it goes under our license, but they really don't have to talk to us. It's a set protocol from the corporate, which, which essentially dictates that everybody needs to be vaccinated.
So that is the directive that came directly from the Center for Disease Control's meeting just last week. They said that the CDC has determined that the health departments in each state must do away with all exemptions pertaining to vaccines. So essentially, they're taking away people's choice.
That is true. I recently talked with my good friend here in Florida. He's a pediatric holistic doctor, and he's also very open, and he respects his like for his kids, I guess the parents' authority to make a decision, and that's his personal stand. But vast majority of doctors are okay if CDC tells them that that everybody needs to be vaccinated. I'm also pro-choice. I respect the choice of the parent or the adult who is involved in the care. And if they choose to not vaccinate, that's pretty fine with me. A lot of doctors and nurses, they're under the false belief that if XYZ is not vaccinated, then they're going to get sick and they'll spread all these plague and smallpox and all these viruses and bacteria in the community and kill everybody, like simply like a zombie apocalypse. That's preposterous. So anyway.
Yeah, and to us in this world, we realize the zombie apocalypse is really not so preposterous as one might think.
Now, yeah.
So, Doctor, let me ask you this question, and your honest opinion. We're keeping your name anonymous for a reason, and it's okay whatever side you fall on. But I'm curious because, in your experience, do you prescribe a lot of drugs that have no clinical research with a double-blind study? Is that normal in your practice?
It's pretty common, like for example, what should I say? Let's take the example of Prilosec. You can buy it over the counter. You don't need a prescription. You know, a lot of people.
Prilosec has extensive double-blind studies.
Yeah. But it's not like you know, we use it for everything. Like there's something called non-ulcer dyspepsia. Even though people don't have an ulcer, we can still use it. So it's you know, we write it off-label. So there's a lot of off-label things that we do. You know.
Which now, and for the record, doctors have the right; they can use a drug however they see fit as the physician. So
that is true. Yeah.
Even though, you know, they might, certain people might not be allowed to discuss the off-label usage. You can't promote the off-label usage, but it's very commonly used that way by doctors who understand the, you know, the actual mechanism of action of the body and how it's going to help.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now, also though, but in general, they're basing these decisions based on clinical evidence, right? Doctors are very much, especially Western medicine doctors, right? Not so much your naturalists or your, you know, homeopathic.
Right.
They're very much evidence-based medicine. This is the claim to fame. So I guess I'm curious, doctor, in your experience, why is it that vaccines escape the same scrutiny even amongst the doctors themselves?
Because all of the studies are sponsored by the pharmaceutical companies, almost all of them that have peer-reviewed publications. There are very little, I think there's very little independent research into vaccines. And it's like if you, like, let's say now you're a doctor, you want to publish a study that goes against the established belief, chances are you won't even get published. That's my understanding.
Well, you're definitely right about that. But most particularly when it comes to vaccinations, right? I mean, I can tell you firsthand that I know of a product that is currently being suppressed by the FDA.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
That has the ability, and it has been proven. It was conducted in several tests, thousands of tests, thousands of subjects in a very formal clinical research setting, double-blind test, many tests, and it was able to eradicate the HIV virus in 7,200 people in Africa.
Oh, okay.
Over 10,000 people of cancer here in the U.S. And when that information, and all of that was done for free, nothing was charged for that, right? And what happened was when it was brought to trial, you know, and there was accusations made, you know, this was an illegal practice by this, you know, we'll call him a naturopath for this case, right? We'll call him a medicine man. What was said in the court was, you know, the judge asked, well, where are all the complaints of all the people who didn't get cured by this, right? Because if you're claiming cancer, and the defendant said, well, there isn't any because they were all cured. Right? Now, you talk about cancer and AIDS, right?
Yeah.
From a, you know, a civilian perspective, we look at it as these are major killers, right?
Yeah, like a death sentence. Yeah.
Right, but from the medical perspective, it would appear to me that what the defendant said was they were cured, and then they came in and they took all the research, and that was 3 years ago, and no one has even heard of it since. They buried it. Now, the only reason why they would do that is because it disrupts the medical economy. But from a civilian perspective, that's the greatest news ever.
That is true, and you know, I was recently surprised. You know, I was talking to another nurse who's pretty awake and open, and she shared this issue that they're now removing published literature from a long time ago that goes against the established belief that so and so vaccine is safe and effective. Because you know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago when I was in training, you can find any research. You can find research on both sides. But now apparently they're removing published studies, which is unheard of. You cannot dump published papers. I don't know how they're able to do that.
Well, it's the same thing that you know Mao Zedong did
Hmm.
in China when
Yeah.
he decided to implement communism, and
Hmm.
basically he started killing off all of the anyone with an education or
I
school.
think anybody with glasses got killed. I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, that's a pretty specific. Yeah, if you had glasses, I guess they assume that you read, so
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
any of that. And
Yeah.
then also it's what Hitler did, right, to burn the books, and this is a common
Hmm.
practice. You suppress this. Now, that's a radical belief, though. That's a radical belief to say that you're in the midst of a genocide.
Hmm.
And but in reality,
It has
maybe to a
happened.
stretch.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's actual historical precedence for this. And
Hmm.
there is actually the I always quote this the wrong way, but it's the law that was passed in 1986, and it's the Compensation Act for children injured by vaccines. Now, the requirement by the drug companies, the FDA, the CDC, and Human Health Services was to continue to do reports and research to show that vaccines were safe and effective, right? They were
Right. Right.
becoming more safe, right? Now, the Supreme Court ruled that vaccines are unavoidably dangerous, right? But so they're going to cause a risk, right?
Hmm.
Unavoidably unsafe, actually, is what it says. So, but with that in mind, we should have 33 years of documentation right now that shows us, well, look, now we can see they're safe and effective, because the CDC went from 24 vaccines back then to 72 now.
That is true.
Now if there's 72 vaccines, and these are mandatory, right?
Hmm.
Generally, or your child can't go to school in some cases, or something else.
Yeah.
Doc, what do you think? What do you see happening to the body in a child that, for example, you have aluminum? Now we know that they're putting this polysorbate 80, which opens the blood-brain barrier, which I believe is used in chemotherapy as well.
Right, right. So, we'll keep it. I know you're sharing some medical stuff. For I don't know your audience. How educated they are. I'll give some like mild examples. Obviously, a kid is injured. That's just heart wrenching, and it's very traumatic for a lot of people to handle. I'll give you another example. Somebody who's 80 years old, obviously they were vaccinated all of their life. They got all these flu shots throughout their life. And this particular client got recently another flu shot, as it's called high dose flu shot. We give it for people who are 65 and above. It's apparently, I think the dose is much higher than the regular flu shot that you give for adults and kids. And after he got that, in the next 2 weeks, he became profoundly weak. He could not get out of the bed. And this particular client was able to walk and do everything independently before he got the flu shot. So the family shared with me while I was interviewing the client that this is what happened, and they're suspecting maybe it's from the shot. So we see those examples day in and out every day. But those never get reported, and I don't even know what happens if they get reported, if it's actually documented somewhere. And I'm pretty open to that, and I notice, and then I make a note of that. But the regular doctors, they are so against that particular belief that they somehow believe that vaccines are all good. They brush it off, say that his fatigue is from old age or some other problem. Although chronologically it clearly shows that the client became profoundly weak right after getting the shot. They obviously, in kids, there are so many examples where the kid gets the shot and 3 weeks later they become weak, or they have seizures, or immediately right after the shot they have fever. And now it has become so common that kids are getting fever right after the shot that they go and tell the nurse to give Tylenol with the shot. They create a protocol around that.
That's awesome.
And yeah,
Tylenol is one of the most dangerous drugs on the market.
that is true. And I myself, although I'm a doctor, I still prescribe Tylenol like it is it's honey.